We had a bit of a hard time figuring out exactly what to make this video about. On the one hand, it's obviously about the Razer Blade 2019, which is a super sick laptop. It's powerful, it's got rigid construction, it's got great features, it's pretty much the complete package. But on the other hand, it's also the first gaming laptop in 3 years to be available with an OLED display. So I guess we're also going to have to take a deep dive into that, because there are things that we love about it, but also some things that left us kinda scratching our heads. What's going in and out of your PC when you're connected to the internet? Well, with Glasswire, you can find out and see if there are any suspicious or badly behaving apps. Use offer code Linus to get 25% off at the link in the video description. Let's not beat around the bush here. Looking at this Samsung manufactured display is a treat. 600 nit peak brightness, 100% DCI-P3 coverage, HDR 400 certification, and calibration from the factory. Just looking at the desktop background, I was like, oh, so good. The colors. I mean, even just opening the settings menu, which is in dark mode by default, nice touch, Razer, is super satisfying. Like 600 nits with perfect blacks means an incredible contrast ratio that just makes all the text and icons just jump out at you. Overall, this right here is the most satisfying display that we have ever seen on a laptop for watching Netflix. The thing is, buying a $3,300 machine to just watch Netflix is maybe not the best idea ever, so let's investigate some other use cases. Fortunately, the Blade 2019 has the specs to back up that price, rocking an Intel Core i7-9750H 6-core processor, 16 gigs of upgradable sodium RAM in dual channel, and an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Max Q, which will allow you to really crank up the details in your games at 4K. While you're at it, by the way, you might as well even turn on RTX, since the one thing that you won't be getting out of this display is more frames per second. Unfortunately, due to its 4K resolution, this OLED panel won't do anything over 60 Hz, and it doesn't even have G-Sync, which means that for gamers, I simply can't recommend the OLED display model of the Blade 2019, especially when there's an option to equip this computer with a 240Hz 1080p IPS panel, which will not only give you a considerable competitive advantage, but it'll just make everything feel way smoother, while even saving you a buck. It is $300 cheaper. Now this might be a bit of a tangent, but I haven't griped about it recently and I feel like I've got to get it out of my system. I feel like there's this disconnect between display marketing and panel manufacturers and what would actually be best for consumers. The thing is, 4K sounds like a great idea on paper, but this is a 15-inch display, not a 65-inch one. And you would actually need to get within 11 inches of this thing, like uncomfortably close, to actually make out the individual pixels. That's 4.5 inches closer than even the MacBook's Retina display. So for my part, I would much rather see a company like Samsung invest in a 1440p OLED panel with like a 120 Hz refresh rate, which by the way, still offers plenty of pixel density at this size. That way, I could easily recommend this laptop to movie watchers and any gamer that isn't an esports professional. Which isn't to say though, that the trade-off won't be worth it for some people. The Blade 2019 is still awesome to look at for games and great for productivity too. So maybe then it'll be great as an everyday carry laptop with some extra punch for creative applications like video editing, along with some sightseeing AAA gaming. At first glance, it definitely seems so. As always, the build quality of the Blade is fantastic, with the aluminum chassis, super thin bezels, and matte black appearance giving it a premium look that works both at LAN parties and at business meetings. That is, depending on how you configure your RGB. There's also plenty of I/O, including a couple USB Type-A's, a single Thunderbolt 3 full-size HDMI, and mini DisplayPort. The freaking massive trackpad maintains its place as the best trackpad on any Windows laptop. I really can't say enough good things about it. But as for the keyboard, I can't quite say the same. It's not bad, but Alienware and Asus have really raised the bar for gaming laptop keyboards in the last year, knocking the Blade's keyboard down from, say, an A- to more like a B+, with the spectacularly stupid short right shift key eliminating the plus. We're gonna call it a B. Now, one leg up the Blade 19 has on other gaming laptops is Windows Hello facial recognition, a really nice touch for anyone that plans to use the Blade on the go, which, by the way, is very possible given its 6-hour battery life in our testing. Although, your results may vary significantly here depending on what exactly is on the screen. Yes, we're back to the screen. Because the thing is, because each pixel on an OLED panel emits its own light, the power draw of the display is highly dependent on what's on the screen. So fire up a picture of Batman swimming in a pool of ink at night, and it might consume only a watt or two. That is far less than the LCD version of the Blade 2019. But a bright image, or heaven forbid, a web page that's not in dark mode, you're looking at more like 15 watts of power consumption. So if you're planning on staying away from power outlets, you need to make sure that you enable dark mode everywhere you go. So then, that's a pretty easy solution, leaving us then with a powerful computer with respectable battery life and a beautiful screen. So you guys are probably thinking, and I sure was, well, this is a digital creator's dream. And by the way, it did chew through big timelines and large renders with aplomb, except for a couple of problems. So first is the audio. The speakers are okay, but we did find them lacking in the low end, which wouldn't matter even, except that the headphone DAC was mediocre when compared to those found in Asus laptops. Second up is that although the OLED screen looks beautiful to the eye, I simply cannot recommend trusting it for color critical work. So going back to how on OLED, each pixel emits its own light. Well, the thing is, there isn't enough power available to drive all of the pixels at once at their highest brightness, which is where average pixel levels, or APL, comes in. So in order to achieve high levels of brightness in some spots on the display, saturation, and therefore color accuracy, has to be sacrificed to make sure that the display as a whole doesn't consume more than its overall power budget. The most obvious situation where this can be seen is that the color accuracy of the panel goes up by 35% just by going from the brightest setting to one notch down. Now, this might seem like a crazy design decision, but for watching videos or playing video games, this is a trade-off that I agree is well worth it because our eyes are much more sensitive to changes in brightness than they are to changes in color. It just also means that, as I said, unfortunately, this panel can't be trusted by digital artists because if they were to go and change their brightness, their accuracy could all of a sudden be way off. And we haven't even mentioned the elephant in the room, burn-in. With OLED, since each individual pixel is emitting its own light, they can actually degrade at different rates depending on what kind of light they're used to emitting throughout their lifetime. So if there's an area of your screen that's always bright, like say the start menu icon in Windows, or the HUD outline of your favorite game, after a while, it could become etched into the panel, basically ruining the picture quality. Now, Razer seems pretty confident about this one, and Samsung clearly took their time on it, but $3,000 is a lot to ask for the privilege of beta testing something. So then now for the really difficult bit. Would I recommend the Blade 2019? Well, with the 240Hz display, absolutely. Once again, Razer has nailed having a laptop that kicks ass in games while also functioning surprisingly well for non-gaming related tasks. As for the OLED screen version, well, it's not ideal for gaming, artists can't trust it, and it's damn expensive. So aside from flexing that you paid $3,300 for the best darn Netflix machine that money can buy, I just can't find a good reason to recommend it. But I do like it. I mean, the color, the contrast, Like I really want it, but I shouldn't, you shouldn't buy it, but like other people should buy it. Like they've got to fund the development somehow, right? It's so beautiful. Maybe with like a high refresh rate, 1440? Really, that is the dream, isn't it? Today's video is brought to you by Drop.com, featuring the Massdrop Object 2 headphone amplifier, AKA the O2 amp. This amp was designed and created with feedback from over 500 Massdrop members on what they wanted, and serves as the ideal baseline reference amplifier for powering anything from in-ear monitors to HD800s. You can adjust the input, output, and power arrangements in 2 differed gains, medium and standard, and it delivers big, clear, and accurate sound. New users who sign up to the website get $10 off this amp, so check it out over on Drop.com. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, dislike. Check out where to buy this in the video description. Also check out our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one and underwear like this. Hold on.
No, don't do
wait,
it. Don't
wait.
do it.
He's gonna do it.
Leave your pants on.
Hold on. This table is so high. I'll have to jump. Oh, they're there though. They're there. You saw them.